Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're embarking on a pretty powerful emotional journey through 5 ancient poems from the Book of Psalms.
I mean, if you have, you know exactly what that's like. It's total emotional whiplash, right? Well, this explainer follows that exact path, showing how these ancient texts really map out a deeply human experience of faith, doubt, and ultimately hope.
So here's the roadmap for our journey. We're going to explore this psalm by psalm. Kicking things off with a cry for mercy in Psalm 6, moving to a call for justice, then a moment of just cosmic awe, and finally wrestling with that tough question, where is God when injustice seems to win?
All right, so let's start. Our journey begins, well, it begins at rock bottom. Psalm 6 isn't some polite, formal prayer. Nope. It's a raw, personal cry for deliverance from what feels like overwhelming pain and sickness.
Wow. I mean, the language here is just so visceral, isn't it? The psalmist is expressing this profound, almost suffocating anguish. You can feel how physically and emotionally drained they are, like they're right at the breaking point. It's that feeling of being completely and utterly spent by suffering. So what's really fascinating here is that this prayer isn't just a wall of sadness. It actually follows a pattern. It starts with this really honest admission of weakness, of sin, but it doesn't stay there. It moves to a desperate plea for God's mercy, even making the argument that the dead can't offer praise. And then it takes this surprising turn, a declaration of trust that, hey, God has actually heard this prayer. So what's the big takeaway here? Is that this psalm basically gives us permission to be brutally honest with God. It shows that bringing our unedited pain, our weakness, and our repentance directly to Him is in itself a powerful act of faith. Okay, so from that really deep internal anguish, Psalm 7 totally switches gears. It takes the conversation public. The focus shifts from heal me to, hey, let's set the record straight in this powerful call for justice. So what's happening here? Well, the psalmist, who tradition says is David, is dealing with slander, with false accusations. He's not just asking for personal relief anymore. He's appealing to God as the ultimate righteous judge of the entire world to please step in and show everyone the truth. He's actually confident that the very traps his enemies have set for him are going to become their own downfall. And this really gets to the heart of a huge theme, divine justice. It's this core belief that God doesn't just see injustice, He acts on it. This psalm shows a really deep trust that God is the one who will untangle the lies and right the wrongs, especially when all the human systems fail us. All right, get ready for a major shift. After all that crying out from the depths and appealing for justice, the psalmist's perspective just dramatically expands. In Psalm 8, it's like the camera pulls way, way back from all the human conflict to just cosmic wonder. You can just feel the shift in tone, right? It's completely different. This is not a plea, it's not a complaint, it is pure, unadulterated awe. The psalmist is looking up at the heavens, the moon, the stars, and is just overwhelmed by the majesty of God's creation, on display for everyone to see. And right in the middle of all this cosmic scale, the psalm hits us with one of the most fundamental questions we can ask. What is our place in all of this? I mean, seriously, compared to the sheer grandeur of the universe, why would its creator even pay attention to tiny, fragile humanity? And the answer? It is absolutely astonishing. The psalm declares that humanity, even though we're physically small, has been given this place of incredible honor and responsibility. We are crowned with glory, and we've been tasked with being stewards of God's creation. It is a breathtaking statement about human dignity and purpose. So, filled with this new, incredible sense of humanity's honored place, the psalmist in chapter 9 circles back to that theme of a justice. But this time, the prayer is just saturated with thanksgiving for God's faithfulness in the past. Think of this psalm as a victory song. It's all about celebrating God's character by recounting His actions. He's praised as a refuge, a stronghold, a righteous judge who remembers the humble and makes sure the wicked get caught in their own schemes. It literally defines who God is by what He does. And this brings up such a crucial point about faith, the power of memory. Being grateful for how you've been delivered in the past isn't just about being polite. It actually builds a foundation of trust that helps us face whatever's coming next with confidence and with hope. Okay, but just when we're on this peak of praise and thanksgiving, the journey takes another sharp, difficult turn. Psalm 10 confronts a painful paradox that, honestly, feels incredibly modern.
The psalm opens with this absolutely haunting question: Why standest thou far off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? It is the cry of someone who truly believes in God's justice, but is really, really struggling to see it in the world around them.
And the psalm paints this really stark contrast between two realities. On one side, you've got the arrogant confidence of the wicked, the people who act like there's no God, no accountability. And on the other, you see the desperate, helpless situation of their victims, who just feel crushed and totally forgotten. But here's the thing, even with all that pain, all that confusion, this psalm does not end in despair. It makes this incredible pivot back to faith. It wraps up with a powerful reaffirmation that God does see, that He is king forever, and that He will ultimately rise up to bring justice for the afflicted and the fatherless. So let's just step back and look at the journey we've been on. It's this incredible emotional arc, isn't it? We moved from deep personal pain to a public appeal for justice. Then we zoomed out to cosmic awe, came back to grateful praise, and then we wrestled with the problem of evil, and through it all, managed to hold on to faith. When you think about it, these psalms give us a timeless and deeply human script for navigating life. They give us words for our lowest moments, our highest praises, and our most difficult questions. And they remind us that even in a world full of confusion, the conversation of faith is always one of raw honesty and somehow enduring hope.